everyone, Johlene Wasserman here from VDM Attorneys, and I'm with Hannah van Deventer, Director of Phoenix Bonds today. Welcome.
Hi Johlene.
Hannah, please tell us, for our listeners out there, what makes Phoenix Bonds different than other bond originators?
So everybody knows what bond origination is. You basically receive a buyer lead and you assist them with their home loan application to all the banks. So we're seen as like kind of a submission service, which is, it is what we do, but it's really just a small part of what we do. And I'm sure there are bond originators or administrators out there that are a submission service, and you submit to all the banks and you receive all the offers and you present them to the client and the client chooses one of them.
Is that not what you do?
It is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tip of the iceberg of what we do. So what an experienced bond originator will do is actually look at the client's application before we submit and maybe restructure it in a way that is more appetizing to the banks. There's certain information we might want to highlight, there's certain information we might not need to submit, not being deceptive or anything, but more it's not relevant. So you don't want to bombard the bank with a lot of information, you want to give them the right information.
Sure.
That makes the application look exactly what it's supposed to look like, which is why this buyer needs to get finance and should get finance and is creditworthy.
So Hannah, is this a personal touch that you are lending to clients out there? And is it difficult for an individual like myself to just go to a bank and apply to them? Why do we need bond originators?
So definitely the power of choice, and that's something you'll hear from bond originators all the time. It's important to go to all the banks because they all have different policies when it comes to different clients. And we utilize those policies and we utilize the approvals we get to go and get approvals at all the banks or negotiate on rate. But once again, it goes back to looking at the client first and making sure that it's structured correctly for each bank. Sometimes we might have a different application submitted to each bank for a particular client because we're looking at that bank's credit policy and we're leaning into certain things that they're after, certain target markets. It's way more important for somebody who is self-employed or applying in the name of a company to go to an experienced bond originator, because there's a lot of things that you can do wrong when you submit your application that will result in a scorecard decline. And a scorecard decline is something that happens where the bank declines the application before a credit analyst has even seen it.
Wow.
And that's dangerous because this is a client that might have been approved, and I've seen so many people that have been declined and they give up. Yeah. They give up on their first decline. I can tell you, we do not give up. We've had applicants where we've been declined 6 times and then we get an approval.
Is that so?
Yeah, because we know that this is a deal that can work and we just need to get it on the desk of the right person.
Now, Hannah, I'm going to ask you another question, and that is, it's so common, unfortunately, in South Africa. Say I, Johlene, have a terrible credit score and or blacklisted, and I would like to purchase a house. Would that be possible at all?
Of course, there's not too many things on the credit report that we can't get around or fix or rehabilitate. So I work with purchasers sometimes for up to 12 months.
Wow.
So I might pre-qual them, we'll find something on the credit report that they didn't even know about most of the time. And we just need to have a plan of action to improve credit score, remove judgments, remove adverse listings. And look, these things don't take years. They take a couple of months when you have a plan, when you have an action plan. The worst thing you can do is ignore the fact that it's there and carry on doing what you're doing. And then in the meantime, your score goes down and down and down. And the lower your score, the longer it takes to rehabilitate. But really, anything aside from being listed for fraud, because that's difficult to get around with the banks. But any other issue on the credit profile, I would say max 12 months to sort out.
So Hannah, what about our foreign clients or foreigners that comes into South Africa and would like to secure a bond for a property in South Africa? How would that work?
So I like doing bonds for foreigners. Firstly, because there is no credit history in South Africa most of the time, and lack of credit history is better than a bad credit history. So
true.
And obviously they have a 50% deposit. So the 50% LTV already lowers the risk for the bank. So the lack of credit score doesn't really matter. All we're trying to do with foreigners is verify their income. So if they're full-time employed and they have their employment contract, they have all of their documents, it's actually quite easy to get them financed. It does just take a little longer, but we typically always get finance for the foreigners.
All right. So in your opinion, as a leading bond originator in South Africa, Phoenix Bonds. What advice do you have for clients out there? If you would like to buy a property, you know you need to secure funding, what would be your words to us?
Get pre-qualified now. Get pre-qualified. And we're not getting pre-qualified to satisfy the agents. That's one part of it. So the agents want to take qualified buyers to properties because sellers don't want to waste their time. Agents don't want to waste their time. So that is one part of it. But there's a whole other part, like I said, that it's just the tip of the iceberg of what we do. We want to pre-qualify buyers so that we can look at your profile. If there's anything we need to rework or restructure in terms of financials or credit scoring, we have time to do that. And the more time I have, the better chance of success and a good rate we will have when we go to application. When we pre-qualify buyers, we ask for all the documents that we need for the application. So by the time the OTP is signed and we've pre-qualified the buyer, we're getting approvals in sometimes an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's service for you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Hannah.
No worries.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Johlene.
1 hour.